My name is Dylan Ashcraft, and I played Amulet Titan.
And I'm Michael Mapson. I'm one of the hosts of the Dark Depths podcast, and I also played Amulet Titan.
The line I want to take every time is I want to put a 6/6 into play and attack people with it, and then go get lands.
Well, that was very simplistic.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we do, right?
I mean, yeah, but like you might want to say like I want to play the card Amulet Figure and pair that with the bounce lands such as Simic Growth Chamber. So then we'll untap.
I've never played the deck in my life.
Generate extra mana, and then you want to play a card like Azusa, Lost But Seeking, or Dryad of the Elysian Grove to give you extra land drops. Well, yeah, I do like those cards actually.
Oh, okay.
And then generate the mana to cast Primeval Titan, and then do shenanigans from there. My favorite moment today was probably I played against Living End, Teamer Living End, and I got to, in game 1, kill him on turn 2, and I got to it was turn 3, but I got to be a little bit showboaty and play a Cultivator Colossus that I didn't really need to play, and then play a Primeval Titan. And then game 2, getting to cast Endurance in response to Living End was pretty sick. So this room surprised me a little bit with what I played against. Round 1, I played against Fairies, which is not something I've played against in quite some time. It was like, oh, I don't know what to play around. I don't know what could possibly be in your sideboard. I mean, like, I guess usual like blue and black cards. But that was a little unusual. I also played against Elves in round 2, which is not something I play against much. And then I played against, I already mentioned it, but Teamer Living End in round 3, which I also never see. It was not a surprise because I knew the player. Yeah, so those 3 matchups were surprising. And then the last 3 were like what I'm more used to. How about you, Dylan?
I didn't play against anything really off the beaten path. I guess the most off the beaten path deck would be Black-White Stoneblade. That's probably the most interesting. I ran the Modern Gauntlet. I played against Affinity, Titan technically, Blue-Eye Control, all that type of stuff.
He says technically because we drew in round 4.
And I took a nap. And I slept.
So Dylan, what did your sideboard look like?
So I played a extra Cavern of Souls, 2 Tireless Trackers, 2 Engineered Explosives, 3 Endurance, 3 Force of Vigor, 1 Outland Liberator, and there's something else I'm forgetting. Emrakul, the Promised End.
Yeah, how was that card for you?
Never came up. I sided in against Blue Light Control, where it's theoretically pretty good, as well as the Titan Mirror, but we didn't actually play the Mirror. And Blue White, I never needed to draw it. The games I won were just me doing Titan things, and I got there.
Yeah, so I cut that card from my sideboard. I found it was pretty underwhelming. Like, I wanted it against blue-white and 4-color, but I just felt like I was beating 4-color anyways, and against blue-white, it probably would be really good, but I don't know. I just never drew it, and I was like, hey, do I really want this card only for blue-white? I feel like I could play more impactful things. Our sideboards are really similar overall, though. Like, you have 2 Tireless Tracker and 1 Cavern. I have the other way around because I feel like the counter spells are really big. Like the Tireless Trackers, I don't really feel like we need to grind as much now that we have Cultivator Colossus. But I mean, it sounds very similar. I also have an extra Engineered Explosives over the Emrakul.
That makes sense.
You know, there's a lot of small creatures and hammers everywhere. It's hard to tell because neither of us played it today, but
I did play against Hammer.
Oh, well, there you go. I'm a liar. Don't listen to me.
Don't do it.
So if anybody wanted to pick up the deck, I would say the first thing that you're going to hear is people are going to talk about how complicated it is and you should pick something easier, blah, blah, blah. It's actually not nearly as complicated as it used to be. There's so many more powerful things you can do now than what you used to be able to do that it really simplifies a lot of the lines. Like a lot of them have to do with Dryad and Valakut. And there's definitely turns where you have to do some complicated thinking, but honestly, once you get a few reps with the deck, you realize you're kind of doing the same thing over and over. There's tons of old articles you could find, and even the articles from like before Dryad and before Urza's Saga and everything can still help you out to some extent.
I couldn't say anything better than that. It's not as hard as people think it is. It's one of the more difficult decks in Modern to just raw pick up and play in the format. But once you learn the basic combos, you should be perfectly fine. If you can put a Titan Dryad on the board and find Valakuts, your opponent should probably concede.
Closing remarks, I just want to say Primeval Titan and Cultivator Colossus are awesome. drew like 15 cards off of a Cultivator Colossus one turn, so that's pretty absurd. And then also a thank you to Al Central for hosting this event.